Everyone is always wanting to maximize their tax return, hence some of the popular videos I've had on my channel. But today I'm going to be talking about one of the most simple ways that you can maximize your tax return, and that's by nailing your deductions. And in particular, I'm going to be talking about 7 deductions that you may not know of. Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Rooshock and I'm back with another tax video. It's still tax time here in Australia, and today's video is all about deductions, and I'm going to go through some of these deductions that you may not know about. So a lot of people know about the everyday ones that we talk about all the time, cars and phones and things like that. But I'll go through 7 deductions that you might not know about. They might not apply to your situation, but hopefully there's 1 or 2 of these that you may not be aware of that you could potentially use in your tax return. So the first one is laundry. And a lot of people may be aware of being able to claim laundry, but they might not really understand how it's meant to be calculated. So the ATO are quite generous to us. They give us a really simple method that we can use, and it's simply $1 per wash if you're just washing work-related uniform, or 50 cents per wash if it's mixed in with other things. So it depends on whether you are washing uniform with other stuff or not, but a real basic calculation that a lot of people will use is they may just washing the work clothes, they might be a trading, they don't want to mix it with other stuff, and they might be washing say 3 times a week, and they do that across 48 weeks a year, and it comes to $144. That can be a simple method that a lot of people do use, and you can adjust based on, those number of washes. But the key thing with this, you need to have a work-related uniform. So it needs to be something that actually comes under that work-related uniform. It can't be just casual clothes that you're washing. The second one I want to talk about is income protection. So you can claim income protection premiums, but they need to meet a couple of things. So one of the key things is it must be paid by yourself, and it can't be paid within your super. You need to be paying for this amount out of your own account, and it needs to be outside of super. The other thing to keep in mind with the income protection is only the premium portion that is to protect your income. So it needs to be an income protection portion of your premium, and it can't therefore be a life insurance premium or a trauma insurance premium, etc. So it's only that part that is to protect your income, and it needs to be paid for outside of super. But if you meet those things, you'll likely be able to claim it in your tax return. The third one is software that you use to help complete your tax return. So a lot of the times this may be for people that are investing, or maybe they've got rental properties, etc. and they're paying for some type of software or some kind of spreadsheet, etc. that helps them complete their tax return. So for example, for those who are invested in crypto, they may be paying for some crypto tax software such as Coinly or Crypto Tax Calculator. I've done a review of those softwares if you want to go check one of them out. The other thing, maybe you're a share investor and you've paid for something like ShareSite. Again, the cost of this is being paid by you, and it is to help prepare your tax return, and therefore it is deductible. So keep in mind, if you are paying any fees for software providers to help prepare your tax return, then they're likely going to be claimable. Now the fourth one is relevant in recent times, and it's face masks. So first of all, you need to actually be required to go to work. So you can't claim a face mask if you're working from home. But if you're required to be at work and you're dealing in a matter that is close with contacts, so you might have clients or customers, or whether it's even other staff members, and you want to wear a mask to help protect yourself, and your work doesn't provide you with a mask and you've had to buy one, then you're likely going to be able to claim that. So you need to meet those things. You obviously need to be at work. You need to be having close contact with people, otherwise it doesn't make sense. And you haven't been provided with a mask, therefore you can claim for that. It's like a protective piece of clothing. There will be certain industries where you can go further and claim for other protective things that are more relevant due to recent times. But obviously they will be people that are working in a more close environment with people. So make sure you have an understanding of what your occupation is. Is this actually required for your work? Do you need it? And therefore you can have a look at, is it deductible for yourself? Now the fifth one is donations to charities. So a lot of people are aware of this, but maybe they don't really understand how it works. So you can claim for donations you make to charities. They have to be $2 or more. So that's the first rule. If it's more than $10 across the year, then you need to keep a receipt for that, or get a receipt. So you can claim up to $10 for those $2 donations you put into a bucket, but you need to keep receipts for anything that is over $10 in total across the year. So you can only do $10 in total without receipts. Now the donation needs to be to a charity that has DGR status. So that is a deductible gift recipient status. So you can find that, do a search, you'll be able to find that, you'll be able to put in their ABN and find that out. So it needs to be to a charity that meets this for you to be able to claim it in your tax return. But if you've made that donation, there's no limit on how much it can be. So you might have made a $500 donation to a registered charity. You can then claim that deduction in your tax return. Now, the sixth one is tax agent fees. So if you pay a tax agent like myself, you can claim that fee in the next year's tax return, because that's a cost of preparing your tax return. It kind of comes a little bit back to where we talked about software to prepare your tax return, but now it's also those agent fees as well. So make sure you get that receipt from your accountant, or if you're going back to the same accountant, they're likely going to have those details. But especially if you've switched accountants, make sure you tell your new accountant that you've paid a fee last year to do your return. Hopefully, if they're a good accountant like myself, they will ask you that question. The other thing that you may be able to claim in this area have you had to travel to your tax agent? You may be able to claim for the car, kilometers on that, depends on the situation, but have an understanding that maybe that could form part of your cost of managing your tax affairs. And then the final one is sun protection. Now, this one's a little bit of a tricky area, so I'll bring this up straight from the ATO, but they pretty much say that your work exposes you to the effects of the sun because you're required to perform your duties for prolonged periods outdoors, and you wear sunscreen while you're at work to protect you from that risk. So that means you need to be in a job where you're predominantly working outside for long periods of time and you're paying for sunscreen. So they actually have quite an in-depth stuff on the ATO website about sun protection as to, what applies, what doesn't, what type of products are claimable, whether you're using them for cosmetic purposes or not. So have a read of that and then have an understanding. So really simple, it's going to be things like tradies that are working outside. They're likely going to be able to claim. If you've got a job where you may be outside for half an hour a week or something, you might fall under not being able to claim. Just have a good read. The ATO have some really good information, but it is definitely an area that people quite often forget about. And it may go beyond just sunscreen. You may also be paying for sunglasses. So, if you're a tradie that's working outside all the time, you might need sunnies because you're exposed to the sun all the time. So have a read of what the ATO say about sun protection. I hope that's been helpful for you. If you're wanting more help with this kind of stuff directly from me, I've got the Discord where I'm dropping answers to questions in there as I go. And also, you can obviously engage me for services, whether it's a tax return, whether it's tax advice. I've got the NFT project. But if you want to support me in general, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, share these videos around. It really means the world to me. And I'll talk to you again on the next video.